Hey guys, how was lunch? Not bad. Not bad. Was for a conference lunch, it's pretty good, isn't it? Great introduction. I am at a lot of conferences, and today I get to talk a little bit about live ops and some of the things that Amazon has learned about helping you with your game and live ops. Now, I actually have the best. There we go. I've actually got the best job at Amazon. My job is to fly around the world talking to rooms full of game developers, finding out from you guys what is hard, what's not working. I take that back to Seattle, they work on stuff, and then I bring stuff back to you and see if you guys are interested in that. And today, we're going to talk about 3 keys to player happiness. And okay, yes, these aren't the only 3 things, but these are things that we can address in a live ops universe. And, well, they're kind of the 3 things I chose. And we're going to take a quick look at how you can spend more time building the differentiated parts of your game while taking maybe some of the less differentiated back office stuff, some of the back end support, and let game tech like GameSparks take care of things like that. So, without wasting any more time, what are some of these 3 things? Well, you can read them up here. As it is, that list is kind of obvious, and it's not terribly actionable. So what I want to do is I want to break these 3 things down to get you kind of something that's a little more actionable. And we'll start with creating social connections and competition. Leaderboards, most of you guys get leaderboards. I'm assuming most of you how many people here actually write code? All right. Hey, you guys have written leaderboards before? Anyone hands? Leaderboards? All right. How many of you who are game designers have designed in leaderboards? Okay. For the hands that didn't go up, either I'm sorry, you're shy and I'm picking on you, or seriously, leaderboards are good. And one of the best examples of leaderboards I can think of doesn't even come from a game. It comes from TripAdvisor. Did you know, okay, you probably don't know, that I'm the number 3 restaurant reviewer in my small hometown? That's right. And if I just do 5 more reviews, I'll get to be the number 1 restaurant reviewer. Seriously, being number 1 is kind of cool. I want to be number 1 in my town, and I've only got to do 5 more reviews. That's achievable. So look at what this leaderboard has done. It's increased my user engagement because now I just have to do 5 more games. I want to do this because number 1 is desirable and achievable. So they've got user attention and user engagement just by implementing a leaderboard that keeps me inspired and make sure it's achievable. If your leaderboards can do this, fantastic. If your leaderboards can't, don't worry. Live Ops can help take care of this. GameSparks has a pretty configurable leaderboard system, and you can do segmented leaderboards based on anything like zip code, player level, anyone who's got a Vorpal sword, anything you can programmatically code, you can go ahead and make a leaderboard for. A second thing are challenges and tournaments. Competition is inherently social. I mean, chess and Go have survived for centuries, not because of really clever UA campaigns, People actually love playing these games with each other and against each other. And the same is true of your game. Even if your game does not support direct competition, player versus player, you can still support indirect competition. We did an experiment with Pac-Man on tablets. And we were able to get people to be really excited about competing, not just for high score, but who can clear a level the fastest, who can clear a level with the fastest number of points, who can get through a certain range of levels with losing the fewest lives. Anything you can measure programmatically in your game can be a challenge point or a point for competition, whether it's direct competition, player versus player, or indirect competition, player versus AI or the computer, where you compete on some of these other things. Again, Game On is a great technology from Amazon that'll help you do that. And it'll also help you make winning a very memorable moment. More about that later. A third is sharing experiences. Think about your game and think about maybe the competitive potential in your game, either direct or indirect, and how shareable are those moments. When you beat the boss in a level or when you make an achievement, how shareable is that? Try to make that as shareable as you can. And if you don't think having shareable moments in your game is a big deal, we're going to play a game right now. It's called How Many Million Hours? So we're going to start something pretty easy, the Pyramid of Giza. How many million hours did it take people to build the Pyramid of Giza? Any guesses? Anyone who's seen this presentation before have a guess? All right, I'll tell you. 15 million hours to build 35 million hours, about 35 million hours to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. That's a lot of time. Except when you compare it to how many hours we spent watching the most popular video on YouTube. Anyone have a guess what that is?
Around 100, I guess, 100 million.
100 million? Actually, that's a really good guess. Back when I put this chart together, the most popular video on YouTube was Gangnam Time, yeah. It's been displaced. I mean, Gangnam Time was 140 million hours to watch Gangnam Time. Since then, it has been displaced by a music video from Latin America that has about 210 million hours of viewing. How many pyramids could we have built in the time we spent watching that video? Okay, not directly comparable, but fun. And we haven't even started talking about competition yet. So let's take a look at a modest-sized competition. College basketball in the United States. Okay, this isn't even at the level of World Cup soccer. This is just collegiate basketball in the United States. We call it March Madness. How many millions of hours did people spend watching collegiate basketball in the US? About 640 million hours. But that's just a regular sporting competition. That's not how much time we spent watching other people play video games. Any guesses how many hours we spent watching other people play video games? Fair enough. About 4.8 billion hours. Think, are the peak moments in your game, are the competitive moments in your game shareable? Because there's an audience out there that's not all just waiting for World of Warcraft or League of Legends. That's waiting for really entertaining, shareable moments from your game. So think about making those shareable moments exposable on YouTube, on Twitch, and which is kind of the whole point about this, is Twitch is one of the live ops solutions you can get from Amazon. Most people kind of don't think of it in the live ops sense, but in the very live ops sense that it helps make your game more accessible to more people. Absolutely consider that. All right, next we're going to move on to meaningful moments and experiences. Duh, right? Of course you want gameplay to be meaningful and memorable. Let me break that down for you. At Amazon, we spent a lot of time digging through data on games that are popular, games that are fun, games that get good user retention, games that get good engagement, and we look for common themes and trends. There are two non-industry books that have made the rounds at Amazon that have taught us how to look at the data differently. The first one we discovered a long time ago. You probably know the book called Flow. Everyone knows kind of what being in a state of flow is. We all, sometimes games can achieve that, and you start playing the game in the afternoon, your family says they're going to bed, yeah, whatever. You get hungry, you go down, all of a sudden it's like first thing in the morning and your face is on a carton of milk as a missing person. Yeah, you've been in flow. So that's great. If you don't know flow, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, okay, don't even think about trying to spell that. Just go to Amazon and look for flow, and you'll get it. The second book I want to talk about is called The Power of Moments. This gives us an entirely new perspective on how people perceive fun and enjoyable events and games. For example, if you just came back from a vacation to Disneyland, and someone asks you, did you have fun at Disneyland? You probably didn't think, let's see, 8 o'clock was about a 7, 8:10 was about a 4.5, 8:20 was about a 6. Nobody does that, right? What you do is you think, Oh my gosh, that, it was amazing. Pirates of the Caribbean, the line was almost as fun as a ride. That was an 8. But then I stood in a really long line to get kind of bad food for a whole bunch of money. That was definitely a 4. Oh, but seeing my daughter meet Minnie Mouse, total 10. And so these are peak and trough moments in your day, in your visit, in your gameplay. People will remember and experience your game based on these peak and trough moments. The nice thing about peak and trough moments, you can engineer them. You can plan them and design them into your game. Let me give you an example of some of these. Obviously, achieving a state of flow is something that people get addicted to. There's brain chemistry behind getting addicted to states of flow. Having a sense of purpose makes people feel good, and having a sense of purpose is a peak moment. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to build a story behind your hyper-casual game. Think about Cut the Rope. You guys know Cut the Rope, right? If you don't, okay, no, I'm kidding. Cut the Rope. When you cut the rope and, Om Nom gets a candy, he's really happy. If he misses it, this little adorable sad face shows up. And you feel bad for the guy, right? You want to make sure he gets the candy next time. It's simple, but it's important. Because think about how popular Cut the Rope would have been had you been trying to get the candy into a wastebasket, right? Dull, boring. Where's your sense of purpose? That little character gave you that sense of purpose that was super important for the game. Recognition of milestones. Achievement systems are good for this. Hey, you just killed 1,000 bad guys. Here's a badge. Hey, sweet. That's kind of a nice achievement. Certainly something you can do with live ops. You can manage achievement systems. Recognition of completion. This is also important. You've started on this quest, and now you're an official member of the Thieves Guild. Here's your Thieves Guild skin. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's nice. Recognition of status. Again, leaderboards, being #1 in my city rocks. I love that status. I was #1 reviewer on wine.com for about 2 years. And the number of hours I put into reviewing wines to keep that ranking, I'm embarrassed to talk about. Wouldn't you like people to be that way about staying on top of your leaderboard in your game? And then recognition of persistence. Persistence? What, you want me to give someone a reward for grinding? Yeah, I do. I want you to think about it. Because what is grinding? Typically, it's a trough experience for a lot of gamers. Before I try the boss at this level, I need to grind for a bunch more soft currency, or I need to grind to do something to get something where I can progress. That can be a trough moment for players. If you can find a way to kind of flatten that out a bit by recognizing, hey, you've just broken open your 1,000th treasure chest. Congratulations. That can be meaningful. And these achievements, these moments, can be managed and rewarded through your live ops system. All you need to do is connect the plumbing in the back end, and then let live ops take care of how you want to manage the recognition and rewards on the front end. For example, for just competitions, you can have tournaments, round robins. Game On, an Amazon tech, will actually let you reward IAP stuff from your catalog, or anything that Amazon sells and delivers. So you can actually do real-world pricing as well. So getting a badge for 1,000 bad guys killed is nice. Getting a badge and a T-shirt with a boss on it, that rocks. So think about the tools you have there. Third thing, rapid iteration on making these kinds of peak moments or flattening out your trough moments possible to implement, tweaking how you reward or how you make some of these moments memorable and how you get them to stick out, deciding that you're going to see if you can't get someone, more people to buy that blue Vorpal sword by either changing its power or changing its price. These are all really important things, and things that you can do with live ops in your game. So step 1, we need you to instrument this stuff so that it is all variable driven. Bad guy speed, variable driven. Hit points, variable driven. Power of weapons, variable driven. Price, your entire IAP catalog should be variable driven so it can be manipulated by your live ops team and not bug your engineers. Okay, you're not going to design your next new game in live ops But live ops is going to help you make your current game as good as it can possibly be if you filtered in enough variables that you can let non-engineers, non-programmers, basically maybe your lead game designer if he's not a developer, you can let them go ahead and tweak these variables. Super powerful. Part of that is you've noticed something's wrong. You're not selling enough blue Vorpal swords. Segment your population and try to run some tests. Try a certain small segment where you make it more powerful. Try a segment where you make it less expensive. Try a segment where you don't change anything, kind of your control group. Run your tests, and then when you find out what's going on, a good back-end system, a good live ops system, is going to let you deploy the optimal change to everyone, not just people who get the next download. I mean, because remember, this isn't code that you have to deploy to everyone. These are variables that can be grabbed from the server when the game launches its next time it's connected. So you can deploy these changes to all of your players instantly, just with one click of a button. Next time they connect, they'll get these new variables. They'll end up being more profitable for you and for your game. Very cool. So segmentation, experimenting, and then deploying the updates quickly. All of this stuff is stuff that you can do with game tech. In particular, I've talked about Game Sparks, Game On, which does tournaments and leaderboards and real-world prizing, and of course, Amazon Web Services. The requisite boilerplate, I'm not going to read these slides to you. If you really want this, either take a picture, I'm okay if you want to do that, or go to the website. What I want you to take home about Game Sparks is most of the live ops back-end stuff that you're going to be doing is not going to be noticeably differentiated in your audience. So seriously, go ahead and use stuff that somebody else has built. More importantly, stuff that somebody else is going to maintain, because you don't want to spend engineer time building it or maintaining that. Let somebody else do that. We'll go ahead, test it. We make sure it's scalable and accessible across the world. Easy enough to do. And GameSparks is really flexible. You can do a whole bunch of stuff from managing in-app purchase catalogs to player matching. Again, go to the website if you want the sales pitch on that. Game On I like a lot, because it makes it possible not just for you to create social competitive experiences for your players, it lets your players create competitive experiences for themselves. How many people do you know who don't consider themselves competitive gamers because they're worried they're going to get their butts kicked? Okay, I've actually been in that category myself. I don't want to play because I'm going to get my butt kicked. What if I could just set up a competition for my immediate friends group? That'd be cool. I'd do that. If I could just make it for me and my buds, I'd play a lot more competitions. You'd get a lot more ad impressions. You'd get a lot more engagement. And you might very well even get more IP conversions if I can play with just my select group of friends. Very powerful being able to do that. Think about how this extends to streaming media. What if a Twitch streamer could invite all of their subscribers to a game to compete against them online in Twitch? That's powerful. What does a Twitch streamer want? A more consumable, entertaining product to get more subscribers, right? That's their currency. If you can give them a game that helps them engage their audience, helps their audience become more engaged, helps build their audience, they're a lot more likely to spend time streaming your game. You help them, they help you. It's nice how that works. Again, possible with Game On, and you can choose to reward any of the competitions that you create with real-world prizes. Quick tip. You don't need to offer anything more than about $35. We did a bunch of experiments in Southern California, again, with hyper-casual games. People would stay for hours to stay on top of the leaderboard for a controller. So it doesn't have to be really expensive. AWS. Who in the room has not heard of AWS before? Okay, I really want to talk to you guys later. The quick story of AWS is we do all kinds of stuff in the cloud. We'll do computing space in the cloud, storage space in the cloud, data structures, relational databases in the cloud. We do real-time analytics in the cloud. We go ahead and have edge servers all around the world so you get reduced latency, so you can have players matched in geographic groups. If you want to have tournaments across geographic groups, AWS has a worldwide infrastructure that does does all of that. And for the guys who've never heard of AWS before, we have a free tier. For all of the AWS services, there's a free layer that lets you do almost all of your development and testing without incurring any costs. The only time you ever pay for stuff is when it actually takes off and starts becoming successful, at which point you're pretty glad you're paying for the services because it's users that you want to have. Again, aws.amazon.com for your free account and more information. Hey, guys, I appreciate your time today. If you have any questions about things like key moments and how key moments are going to help define how people feel and talk about your game, I'd love to meet up with you outside or later on today. I'll be around all day today and tomorrow. Thank you very much.